Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the lesson 10.5 and 10.6 homework review. Let's get started. Number 3, we had to figure out if FG was tangent to circle E at point G, and the correct answer was yes. Okay, so this is one of those cases where if this radius here is 15, then they're saying that this distance here is 15 as well, so this entire distance was 15 plus 24, which is 39. If you said no, that's okay. The diagram is kind of confusing until you get used to looking at it. So don't stress out if you missed on the homework that this total distance was 39. Number 5, we had to find x so that line BC was tangent to circle A at point B. Well, the first thing is this distance here was supposed to be x, so you should have got an answer of 16. And the reason why is x squared plus 30 squared, sum of the two legs squares, should equal x plus 18 squared. FOIL properly, you get x squared plus 900 equals x squared plus 30, 6x plus 324. Get rid of the x squared, subtract 324 from 900, and you get 36x equals 576. Divide 576 by 36, and you get x equals 16. All right, moving on. Number 8, we had to find x so that triangle JKL is circumscribed about circle R. So in order to do that, segment LO must be equal to segment LN. So 4x minus 9 has to equal x plus 3. If you add 9 to the right, subtract 1x from the left, and you get x should equal 4. All right, moving along, we had to find the perimeter of JKL. Well, if x equals 4, that means ln has to equal 7, 4 plus 3. LO also has to equal 7 because they're congruent. Or 4 times 4 is 16 minus 9 equals 7. Okay, well, if this distance here, km is 7, kn also has to be 7. And if JO is 12, then JM has to be 12. Next thing you do, you just add all those up, and you get that the perimeter of that triangle is 52. All right, moving along. All right, so 16 we actually got to, let me make sure to check my notes. Yeah, 16 we actually got to skip, but if you did want to do it, you would have got that it is, in fact, a tangent line. All right, 23, we had to find AC and BC in order that, that they are tangent to circle D. Okay, well, to do this problem, we know that we know that the radius is 26. So this distance here is 26. This distance here is 26. Oh, great straight line, like always. And this distance here, we know EC is 20. So you fill all that information in, and you can solve for AC. So you got 37.95, because AC squared plus AD squared is equal to DC squared. In other words, this has to be a right angle. AC squared is square root of 1440. You could have said 12 root 10 as well for an answer. I would take that, so make a note right here. Or 12 radical 10. All right. And B, we know that AC and BC are congruent. So we know that BC is also 37.95 or 12 radical 10. We had to find the value of x. Again, we know that 2x must equal 14. So we should know that x equals 7. And then if x equals 7, well, let's see. That means this is 17, which means this is 17. If VS is 17, that means RV is 10. If RV is 10, that means RU is 10. 10 plus 14 is 24. 24 plus 14 is 38. 38 plus 17 is 55. 55 plus 27 should get you a distance of 82 inches. All right, 26. We had to find the value of x. TR is tangent to circle A and circle B, so I actually know that TR is congruent to TQ. I also know that TS is congruent to TR, so I can say x is 9, and the reason for that is 3x minus 8 must equal x plus 10, because they're both tangent to TR. 2x, 18, x, 9. Moving right along. 27, we had to find the value of x. Again, if this distance here is 4, QR is 4, we know that this here is 4 as well, which means this is 4. We know this is 9, so we know that x is square root of 65. because x squared plus 4 squared is equal to 4 plus 5, which is 9 squared. So x squared plus 16 equals 81. 81 minus 16 is 65, not 45. And x is the square root of 65. On 30, we had to find BA. So we're told that this distance here is 720. We're told the Earth's radius is 6360. And we're told that AB is tangent. So I actually know that this makes a right angle. Okay, I also know that this is 6360. So now should get an answer of 3,110.76 kilometers. The way we got that, BA squared, which is what we're looking for, plus AE squared, which is 6360, equals BE squared, which is just 6360 plus 720. You have to use a calculator, and you get BA is 3,110.76 kilometers. Moving on, 35. Oh, challenge. All right. Well, you should have got PQ is 4 radical 6 or 9.8 would be a fine answer. All right, so let's look at why. First, we know that PQ is tangent to both circles. So I can, look at that motion. I can draw a parallel line right here such that this would still be a 90-degree angle. This would be a 90-degree angle, okay? And this would be a 90-degree angle. So now let's look at this information. I know that this distance, because this is a rectangle, so this is 4, so I know this is 2. And then RS, well, I know RS must be 10, and the reason for that is this is a radius, RP, so this is 6. This is a radius, SQ, so this is 4. So now 2 squared plus x squared equals 10 squared. PQ squared is 96. PQ is 4 radical 6. All right. Number 40. Circle P has a radius of 10 centimeters, and ED is tangent to the circle at point D. F lies both on circle P and on segment EP. This is a lot of words. You should have got the answer as B, by the way. The best way to approach this problem, draw yourself a diagram. So I got circle P. All right, I got DE, which is 24. I've got the radius, which I know is 10. And now I'm looking for this distance. Well, again, I still know that PF is 10. 10 squared plus 24 squared equals x plus 10 squared. This is 100. This is 576. You can FOIL this out. I'm actually going to not FOIL this out and be maybe clever. So this adds up to be 676. X plus 10 squared. I can now take the square root of both sides. And because I know this is a length, I'm only worried about the positive root. So I can forget about the negative root. So x plus 10 equals, and the square root of 676 is 26. So then subtract 10, you get x is equal to 16. So that is how you find EF. 41, we had to find a, so we have a square that's inscribed in a circle, and the circle has a radius of 6 inches. We had to find the length of each side of the square. All right. Well, if the radius is 6 inches, that means the radius is 6 inches. And that's a 90-degree angle. And if that's a 90-degree angle, 6 squared plus 6 squared, you got a 45, 45, 90, should give you 6 radical 2. All right, that's 10.5. Moving on to 10.6. Number 1, we had to find the measure of angle 1. You should have got 110 degrees. Let's look at that. We know that these are vertical angles, so the measure of angle 1 is the average of 86 plus 134. So 86 plus 134, that gets me 220. 220 divided by 2, that gives me 110 degrees. Number 2, we had to find the measure of arc TS. We should have got the measure of arc TS is 144 degrees. Again, we know that this angle, which is 126 degrees, has to be the average of 108. Again, this is because it's inside, intersecting inside the circle. 108, and the measure of arc TS. Now multiply by 2, 252 equals 108 plus the measure of TS. Subtract 108, and I get 144 equals the measure of TS. All right, moving along. Number 3, we had to find the measure of angle T. Okay, well, we have a point on the circle, so we have a inscribed angle, and it's just intercepting the arc. This measures 146 degrees. So measure of angle 2 is just half that, or 73 degrees. Number 4, we had to find the measure of angle H. Well, H is an angle that's formed outside of the circle by 2 secants, so that is the difference divided by 2. So the measure of angle H is equal to 88 minus 26 over 2. 88 minus 26, that's 62 over 2. And you should get the measure of angle H is 31 degrees. All right, moving along. Number 5, find the measure of QTS. Well, again, these are 2 secants, or actually it's a secant and a tangent, but it's angle formed outside the circle, and that's really the only part that matters. So I know that 71 degrees has to equal the measure of arc QTS minus 106, which is the first intercepted arc, over 2. So 142 equals the measure of arc QTS minus 106. Add 106 to both sides. You should get 248 equals the measure of arc QTS. And we do get 248 degrees. Very exciting. All right, number 6, I allowed you guys to skip, but it's 150 degrees. All right, 11. I think I allowed you guys to skip 11 as well. 28 degrees. Measure of angle K for 12. You should have got 97 degrees. 14. Okay, 14. Back to the problem you guys had to do. We had to find the measure of angle ABD. Well, if you look at this problem, first, if this is 154, I know that this arc is 360 minus 154. And so you should get 206 degrees for this arc. And then ABD is just half that, which is 103 degrees. Now, another way that some people approach this problem is to draw this line out here. I know that the measure of this angle is 77 degrees. And now this is 180 minus 77, which is 103 degrees. All right, 19, we didn't have to do, but would have got 74 degrees if we did. 25. We had to find find X, the visible point of the arc of the Earth from that satellite. Okay, so there's 2 ways to approach this. If this distance is X, I know this is 360 minus X. So then I know that 12 degrees has to equal 360 minus X over 2. Or 24 equals 360 minus 2x. And then bring 2x over here, bring my 24 back over, and I get 336 degrees. Divide, and I get that x is 168 degrees, I believe. Yeah, 168 degrees. Okay. Now that was a long way of approaching this problem. Another thing, if I have 2 tangents that formed an angle, always notice that this arc here, this first intercepted arc, and the angle formed are supplementary. And I can do a quick proof on why. Instead of calling this 12 degrees, let's call this angle 1. So I know the measure of angle 1 is always going to be 360 minus x, which is the arc you can't see, minus x, which is the arc you can see, divided by 2. So I know that 2 times the measure of angle 1 is going to equal 360 minus 2x. I'm going to bring my 2x over here. 2 measure of angle 1 plus 2x equals 360. Divide both sides by 2, and I get the measure of angle 1 plus x will always equal 180 degrees. They will always be supplementary to each other. All right, 30, we didn't have to do the proof. If you did do it, you can pause the screen and see it. It's a very exciting proof. All right, 37. The circles below are concentric. What is x? Okay, so first thing we have to do is find the measure of angle A. So the measure of angle A is 54 and 118. So 118 minus 54 over 2. That gives me the measure of angle A. 118 minus 54, that's 64. 64 divided by 2, it gives me the measure of angle A is 32 degrees. Okay, once I got that, I can say that 32 is equal to 79 minus x over 2. So 64 equals 79 minus x. You get all that, you should get that x is 15 degrees. All right, 42 is multiple choice. A, B, C, or D. What is the value of x? C, 64 degrees. All right, we can look at y. Okay, so this is 108 degrees. This is 62. You add those together. That's 170, which means the measure of arc RP has to be 190 degrees. Just nailing the scale here. And then I know that x is equal to 190 minus 62 divided by 2. 190 minus 62, that is 128. And 128 divided by 2 is 64 degrees. 43, we had to say that point A and point B are on circle C and AB is the diameter. And then we had to find the coordinates of C. Okay, so I like to draw myself a little picture. A is at -4, 8. B is at 6, 2. And I know C is the center. I know this is the diameter, so it's right here. So in other words, C is just the midpoint. So we use the midpoint formula. 6 plus -4 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. I already know that's my answer without going any further. But 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. It's got to be J. All right, 44, they told us that AED is 95 degrees. They told us the measure of arc AD is 120 degrees. Now they want us to find the measure of angle BAC. Okay, so the most important part, first of all, is to find this arc here. Find the measure of arc BC. Well, I know that 95 is equal to BC plus 120 divided by 2. So I know that 190 is equal to measure BC plus 120. So in other words, I know the measure of BC is 70. Once I get that, I need to remember that the measure of angle BAC, this is an inscribed angle, it's just half of its intercepted arc, so you should get 35 degrees. All right, and that is 10.5 and 10.6. You guys can let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, bye.